I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
I was hesitant about the reboot of Doom for current consoles, as I have fond memories of playing the original when I was younger. I was happy to find that Doom franchise has returned with a fantastically fast-paced and brutal comeback. The game comes from id Software, and while it does have some minor issues, it manages to pack a punch and deliver an awesome campaign. You can also expect plenty of references and callbacks to the original games that will please long-time fans. The game takes place on Mars, and a doorway has been opened to Hell, which is unfortunate to say the least. The plot may sound ridiculous, but the developers have totally embraced the bombastic nature and over-the-top gameplay to create an experience that is pure fun at its core. You wake up inside a claustrophobic chamber, and before you know it, you are blasting and punching your way through hordes of demons. You play as a UAC Marine, and your primary job is to eliminate the enemy and put a stop to the madness. Much like the recent Wolfenstein reboot, the game returns in all its glory with gory action and atmospheric setting. The gameplay in Doom is just brilliant and absurdly fun, which is what a game should be. I'm not a massive fan of first-person shooters, but I thoroughly enjoyed Wolfenstein and have to say that I enjoyed this even more. With fantastic gameplay, updated looks and a lengthy campaign, I was hooked. The controls here are top-notch and lend themselves well to the fast-paced style of gameplay. The movement of enemies is frantic and unpredictable, but thankfully you're also very quick on your feet. Combat is brutal and not for the faint-hearted. I lost track very quickly of the amount of demons I had pulverized and obliterated in my path. That being said, the game is challenging, and if you take your eye off the action for one moment, you're going to end up dead. The environments are littered with small health packs and shields which keep you topped up as you move through each zone. The gameplay is almost like a rhythm game in the sense that you're strategically dodging bullets, timing melee attacks, and moving to the next health pack. As you would expect, there are a decent variety in weapons, and the game does a great job of implementing each new weapon throughout the campaign. You start up with a pistol, and soon after you pick up a shotgun. Fan favourites return with the likes of the BFG and the chainsaw. Doom's campaign is exactly what you would expect in terms of narrative. It doesn't have a complex story that's forced upon you, but if you wish to delve into the story, there are ways of getting more out of the game. Doom is all about the pure gameplay that's fast, bloody, and downright brutal. The action rarely lets up, and you will find you're constantly on the move. It blends old and new very well, giving the players constant action and gameplay they would expect, with some new ideas implemented like the melee combat and the upgrade systems. The game also surprisingly has a good amount of secrets and collectibles to find. The level design here is great, with sections that have large open arenas before moving into tight, close-quarter corridors full of demonic monsters. The biggest change to the game is the melee system known as the Glory Kill. The game is good enough without this system, but having it adds another awesome fun fact to the game. As you shoot enemies, they become weaker, and once they become damaged enough, they glow. That's your chance to move in and perform a melee attack, which will see you simply batter an enemy to death. These attacks both allow you to become invulnerable for a short amount of time and pick up health in the process. This for me is what made the game so much fun to play. Sure, it's gory and over the top, but that's what the game's about, and the developers have fully embraced the ridiculously violent tone. Doom knows what it is, and it isn't afraid to parody itself and stand up for what it's going for in terms of design. The melee system is fantastic, but the shooting also feels great, and a mixture of the two gives the gameplay great pacing and keep things fresh. Doom has a point system that allows you to upgrade both your suit and weapons. The upgrades for the weapons are awesome, and they add even more variety and devastation to the gunplay. There's also an upgrade system that lets you put points into 3 main categories of health, armour or ammunition. These upgrade systems give reason to go back and replay sections. The demons themselves also look terrifying, and I have fantastic visual upgrades from the previous games. The single player is surprisingly good and has taken a beloved and quite important game in the history of FPS games and modernised it with great design and fast gameplay. The visual presentation is great with well-designed environments, horrific enemies and blood-drenched hallways. The game looks beautiful in an odd sort of way. It shouldn't be so appealing considering hell has been opened and demons are trying to pull you apart. The atmosphere is what makes the game stand out against other FPS games. With harrowing corridors filled with monsters and techno-rock soundtrack that kicks in when the action ramps up. The music is done brilliantly, with beautifully orchestral moments that burst into full-on rock that suits the tone perfectly. Everything about the game is stylized and comes together extremely well. Some people may look at the game and think it's nothing more than a shallow gore-filled experience, but in fact it's so well designed and the game totally knows and quite frankly nails what it's going for. I highly recommend playing this game with a headset if you want to feel fully immersed in that world. The multiplayer is enjoyable as well. It feels like an old school arena shooter like Quake. You only carry 2 weapons which you can switch up in loadouts. Health, shields and ammo are scattered around the arenas and the action is extremely fast paced and hectic. Most FPS games these days have a lot to contend with, like Call of Duty having jetpacks, wall running and other gimmicks, whereas Doom is pure arena shooter mayhem stripped to the core. Its interesting extra gameplay feature here is the Demon Ruin drops, which occasionally appear throughout the fight. If you pick up a ruin, it transforms you into a demon, giving you ultimate power. Aside from standard modes like Team Deathmatch and Capture the Zone, there are a couple of other modes including Soul Harvest and Freeze Tag. Doom now has Snap Map mode, which is a level editor. This means you can build custom maps for single and co-op missions. You can also make multiplayer deathmatch arenas. The depth and complexity is actually pretty good and has some strong designs I can see coming in the future. I'm interested to see what people come up with, and I'm sure that people will attempt to recreate sections of the original game. This Doom reboot has taken the essence of the original and injected it with fresh ideas and has given it a fresh coat of paint. The campaign is surprisingly brilliant and kept me utterly immersed from start to finish. Doom is certainly not for the faint-hearted, and it's full to the brim with gore, blood and utterly brutal gameplay. The addition of Glory Kill system not only is a game changer, but it's one of the most satisfying experiences I have had in any game recently. The shooting is also strong and the visual design and atmosphere are impressive. The campaign is also longer than expected, at around 12 hours long, and there are plenty of reasons to replay sections. The upgrades are interesting and have a good amount of depth. Overall, I can't say enough good things about this game. I was looking forward to playing this reboot, but it surpassed what I expected. It may look shallow and nothing more than gore porn, but there's a surprising amount of depth and some truly brilliant design here, and most importantly, it's hellishly fun.